They sent them away. But Eleanor Roosevelt made sure that that ship was fully provisioned before they sent it away. I think maybe Cuba accepted it, I'm not sure. But there were countries, Australia wouldn't accept them. It was just a nightmare beyond. And I remember asking my parents who lived during this, didn't the people here know
What was going on?
And my mother said yes, they knew. There were a lot of aid groups. They knew.
Yeah.
There were Bund meetings, the German Bund meetings, all of that. Union, New Jersey, Irvington, New Jersey. There were very big German communities. Watchung, they would hold the pro-Nazi Bund meetings. And interestingly enough, the president, I don't remember if it was a president or Hoover, I'm not sure, but he got the mafia after them. The mafia actually went and broke up these Bund meetings.
Wow.
It's more fascinating than anything you can possibly. You have to be interested enough to read or to know about. But yes, the mafia were big helpers in breaking up these. There was a Jewish mafia and the Italian mafia. They broke up so many of these meetings. They broke up a lot of bones. So it's more than interesting. It's fascinating.
Wow.
Fascinating.
Well, I appreciate you sharing your story. So can you hold this sheet up to the camera so people can see what that is that you are sharing?
It's the Resource Center at Kane University, the Holocaust Resource Center.
Awesome.
And this is the Congressional Medal of Honor. You can only be an enlisted man. You can't be an officer. It only goes to the enlisted men and women. And it first came about in the Civil War. And there was a famous movie back. It's a classic. It was practically one of the first talkies. It was called Sergeant York with Gary Cooper. And Sergeant York was in World War I. It was a wonderful movie. Gary Cooper and Walter Brennan, and he was like a very strong Christian and didn't want objector. You know, he didn't want to kill anyone or that was not his way. He was a very sharp shooter. But over in France or whatever they were, he saw that if he didn't help his fellow, soldiers, they were all going to die, and he did. And he won the Congressional Medal of Honor, and they made a movie out of it. Sergeant Alton York.
Oh,
I remember that, of course. I love old movies. But it's something very worthwhile hearing about. They are incredible people. Incredible people.
Well, thank you for sharing. We did a quick segment on where do you come from. Do you mind sharing with us where you come from?
My parents were first generation. My cousins and I traced my mother's family back to 1790 in a little village in Belarus, which was part of Russia.
Oh, very.
What they used to call White Russia. There's Kiev, there's Ukraine, Belarus. Oh, Kiev is in Ukraine. This is Belarus, where Minsk, there was Minsky's burlesque, Minsk. And they came from a little village called Chernigovo Gubernia. I'm the only one in the family can say that. Chernigovo Gubernia.
I never would think that your roots would go back to
1790 in the same village, yes. My cousin, we stopped for whatever reason. My father's side, we know, came from the Russian-Polish border. It was more Russian than Polish, but we have trouble tracing back because the name was changed, and we're not 100% sure what the name was before they came over. So that's harder to do. But on the Pinsky side, we were able to do that. And my grandfather, we never knew any of our grandparents because our parents were the youngest of the youngest, and my sister was maybe a year old when the grandparents. But the stories my mother would tell me, they were the ones that people would come when they came from Europe. that's where they would come to get a bed, to get a handout, to get started at my grandmother and grandfather's house. He was a huge Russian bear, and she was this teeny tiny little, there was 7 children, and he was very handsome with the twirled mustache. And,
Oh yeah, I remember
yeah,
those.
yeah. The Pinsky family was a good-looking family. Well, of course, I look just like
Of course.
very